right, everyone, welcome to session number 1 from the storytelling track. I won't spend a lot of time here because our next speaker is actually someone that some of you may know because you have seen him last year in the first edition of the conference. You actually, after the event itself, told us that he was the top speaker of the event. And so we decided that it won't be a bad idea for us to bring him back and for him to open the event. Florian, welcome back. And yeah, the stage is all yours, man.
Come with me to Berlin. Come with me to Berlin. 13 years ago, it's a sunny day. I walk down Torstrasse, a popular street in Berlin Mitte, the center of former Eastern Berlin. There's coffee shops and bars and stylish fashion stores. I walk down Torstrasse with my friend Sam. Sam and I walk down and we reach Rosenthaler Platz, a famous square in Berlin. Life is pumping, buzzing, the tram, the cars, the honking, the people, colorful buildings, and Sam and I walk down the stairs to the subway station. Sam, so night, cannot walk anymore. I have to carry him. We walk down the stairs. Down there it smells like empty beer bottles. I walk towards the yellow ticket machine and the train is rushing in. Yellow, graffiti battered, screaming wheels. I'm at the ticket machine, the yellow ticket machine. Behind the ticket machine, there's a gentleman. Leather, all black. More piercings on his face than the Bible has pages. And he says to me, "Do you have a euro for me?" "No, sorry." I look at the ticket machine, the yellow ticket machine. It says €2.10. I enter my pocket. I grab into my left pocket. €1.27. Oops. My inner voice starts to scream. "You see, you loser. I told you. You should have never left KPMG, the safe harbor. You should have stayed there. No, but you had to leave it. You had to create this European cultural festival in Berlin. And I told you, you will never get funding. And now you're here in front of a ticket machine and you cannot even buy a fucking subway ticket. Loser." My friend, a day, one dream, a European dream dies. And another dream of professional speaking has to be born. I look again down at my €1.27. I look up, and who's standing there? You! What the hell are you doing here? Welcome back. Welcome back. It's great to be back with you guys. Present to Succeed number 2. Boris came down to Barcelona to stalk me down. We went to a fish restaurant. You remember Boris? We went to the Salamanca. I take him to the fish restaurant and Boris doesn't eat fish. Thank you, Boris. Great to be back. Last year, I talked about rhetorical orgasms. Woo! This year, it's about a completely different subject. It's about magic and how you can make that magic happen in your storytelling. What's the magic? My friend, as a speaker, as a public speaker, as a presenter, as a communicator in general, you have four main goals: to inform, to entertain, to persuade, move people to action, and to inspire, to change their attitude. And I've been saying that for more than a decade. On top of that, there's a huge block. And that huge block, that, my friend, is the end game of communication. Connection. Connection. That's the end game of communication. And connection with your audience, that is magic. Why? Because connection is the fast track to that in your audience. So you want to connect. And what could possibly be more connecting than meeting your audience in your own story? That's the Mount Olympus of connection. When I look at my 12,525 speeches I had the honor and pleasure to experience for 13 years in my public speaking training sessions, I count them in Excel. Boris, something must be still there from KPMG. I'm an Excel freak. 12,525 speeches. If you ask me, what are the elements to make that magic happen? It's 5 elements. That's what you need to make that magic of connection, of meeting your audience in your story happen. And this is what this workshop today is all about. But before we enter those 5 elements to make that magic happen, I need something in your brain. A bit like Hannibal Lecter. I need something in your brain to play with so you can work on that story, your own story, throughout this workshop. Now, the €1.27 story I just told you, that is one of my signature stories. And it's not just any story. I have a long version of it, I have a middle version, I have a short version. That €1.27, when I look at it and I realize something died, something has to be born, that is a magical moment in storytelling. And in Greek, this moment is called anagnoresis. And a what? Anagnoresis. Don't remember it. But have you seen, by any means, by coincidence, have you seen Bohemian Rhapsody? Freddie Mercury, Queen? When she looks at him, in case you've seen it, when she looks at him, come home, Freddie. Home. That is anagnoresis. Anagnoresis means in Greek recognition. It is when the protagonist suddenly sees things differently. And from that moment on, think about all TV shows, think about all movies you've seen, all books you've read. You know, the ones with the pages and letters still exist. There's always anagnoresis. It's a holy moment in storytelling. From that moment on, it goes up. Freddie goes back to London, best concert in his life. Now, since you cannot remember anagnoresis, in my training sessions, I call it an Anna moment to make it simple. Anna moment. And we have them. You have them. That is not an assumption because I've done that so many times with people. My Anna moment today is the €1.27. I have several in my life. I want you to, for a few seconds, think about an Anna moment in your life. In your life, was there a moment, and I know there is, where you suddenly changed perception? You suddenly changed the view on things. And I want you to think about that moment, that one moment in your life, that Anna moment. I count till 5, you will have it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Anna moment, check, now it's there. And we will work on that situation in your mind, that moment, throughout this workshop. 5 elements to make that magic happen, meeting your audience in your story, which is the magic of connection. Super cool. First element, think about the Lord of the Rings. And if you've not read nor seen Lord of the Rings, leave this track. You're not a human being. Think about the Lord of the Rings. After the prologue, after Mordor, Sauron, after the prologue, where does Lord of the Rings start? In the Shire. Oh, sweet, cozy. How does the Shire look like? How does it feel like? Think about the Shire. The green hills, the round doors, the hobbits with the hairy legs, always smiling, ha ha ha, he he he, and they eat a lot. They eat a lot. And they drink more beer than Bavarians. I'm a Bavarian. This is disgraceful. Hobbits drink more beer than us. and the fireworks, and it's the Shire. How are you supposed to enter the story of the Lord of the Rings without the Shire? First element, you want to describe the situation, the initial situation. Like in my case, Berlin, Torstrasse, Rosenthaler Platz, buildings, coffee, bars, fashion stores. That's the situation. Down the subway. Without the situation, you cannot meet me in my story. You know how people talk in my training sessions and in business presentations? It's a symbol, but they talk like this. I grew up in a normal village. A normal village? What's a normal village? Well, you, the speaker, you see the romantic church tower, you see the grocery store where Mrs. Miller always gave you free lollipops, and you see, of course, the green tree, the bar where your father always fell out with 3 pints he should have avoided. You see the village. I don't. As a speaker, when storytelling, bring them in the situation. Describe the situation in few words. As a speaker, you are a writer with fewer words. You cannot write a novel like Hemingway. That's not possible. Fewer words. And this is home office. Somebody's ringing a bell and the dogs are barking. Welcome to my life, online life. Now, go to the chat. I want you to write into the chat a short description, 1-2 sentences. What is the situation of your Anna moment? You remember the Anna moment when things changed? Describe that moment. Where are you? What's going on? Describe it in the chat now. Go. Half a minute, you know it. Describe that moment.
I'm also monitoring this one for you. So let's see what ends up happening and what people will put in the chat. So everyone...
Well, after the delay?
After the delay, of course, people are hearing us with a 10 to 15 second delay. That is true, but that's technology. So it is what it is. So we are waiting for some things to pop up in the chat. Let's see. By the way, there were some interesting comments around the Lord of the Rings. People say, a friend of mine actually, Vili, is actually saying that this is a must. So you have to see.
It's a must. If you don't know that, you're not a human being, man.
Correct. So let's see if someone will answer to your question here, or your ask for them to push into the chat the message that you wanted. So let's see. Probably they're now hearing it. Probably right now they're now hearing it. All right, let's give it 5 or 10 more seconds. And if there is anything else, if there is no comments in the chat on that point, I think we should move on, and I'll come back with them afterwards.
Sure.
All right, nothing yet. Let's see. Come on, everybody. Come on, everyone.
Exactly.
What is going on?
What is an Anna moment?
This is the first session. This is the first. Come on, we told you that you have to. Okay, so we have one. Bert, I hope. So I'm sitting on the edge of a cliff on a Greek island. That's a good start, I would say. Contemplating life, enjoying the sunset, when suddenly someone taps me on the shoulder. It's the bartender from India.
Nice.
That is the first one. We have one from Alexander, who says, sitting on the balcony, drinking coffee, and looking at the flowers in the garden. And then another one comes in that says, that's from Dimitra. She says that standing at the sink, washing dishes, thinking of dreams that remained unfulfilled. Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
That's poetic. Okay, let them continue. You know how it works, guys. And we have to move on to the next element. So once you describe a situation in your story, that's cool. Now, we heard about the balcony and the cliff. I realized that people speak with one sense only. Almost entirely, we speak with one sense only. But if you're not Bruce Willis, you know we have 5 senses. The second element is +4. What senses do we have? People always talk visually. The cliff, the balcony, the church tower, the store. There's a person in the street. the coffee shop. But this is all visual. The report is too long. The presentation is too long. It's all visual. We have 5 senses. We have also the taste and the hearing and the smell and the touch. You see, you have 5 senses in total. Now, every sense that you touch in my brain is connected to a memory. And every memory is connected to an emotion. That subway station smells like empty beer bottles. That goes deep into your emotional world. When you describe your situations, don't only, like the Shire, don't only describe it visually. Describe it with 5 senses. So the second task for you, to go back to your scene, go back to that moment and describe it, but only use non-visual senses. So only hearing, touch, and smell and taste. Only describe with few words. How does it smell on the cliff on the Greek island, my friend? How does it smell, for instance? What do you hear? The waves? Go. Boris, let's do another interaction here.
All right. So I made a lame mistake, to be very honest with you. Someone pointed out that I'm reading the chat, the general chat, and not the track chat, meaning where the session is happening. So
Boris, it's the second time.
This is happening for 2nd year in a row. I need to change something in myself, you know? Or probably we need to change me in first place. Maybe someone else needs to moderate this conference. So all right, I see the last comment here right now. I hope that now I'm seeing the right thing. The last thing I see is from Nikolai, who said, "I'm sitting in my car with all my personal belongings in the trunk. It is September. The sun is low at sunset time. I'm taking a deep breath and I'm thinking of where to head now." Norma, now here probably is your question. Norma says, "Salty, sticky tears on my face, honking
so
cars."
Nice. What's her name? What's her name again?
Norma. Her name is Norma. Yeah,
Norma.
We have one more. Let's go with one more. And Nadezhda says, "It was a pretty warm July evening. My last cold beer in my hand. I'm alone for the first time in my own apartment." Damn. The cold beer. That is important.
Cold beer.
All right.
Always be descriptive with adjectives. Adjectives make it descriptive. Very cool.
And one more. Let's go for 3. There are so many comments. I cannot catch up now. What? Stop it. Stop it. All right. So one more. Okay. Maria says, "It smells like fear when you're probably she meant when you are scared about trying something new, opening new horizons and understanding something you have never felt before. It smells like fear."
That's, by the way, very poetic, and it works always metaphorically. All 5 senses work. I see danger. I smell fear. I hear silence. You can really do a lot with the 5 senses. Cool. Thank you, Boris. Let's move on. So you have the situation. You describe where you are in few words. Once a guy and you add even the other senses, which people normally don't do. For instance, I always say it's a sunny day. You just said the sun was low. Very cool. Very cool. Good detail. Now, always describe it. You don't have to use all 5 every time, but don't only talk visually. Once a guy in my training session, he said this, first sentence in a speech. "I grew up in a yellow house with 4 families next to a highway. I could see the dirty laundry. I could hear the noise. 3 elements, no words. Amazing." So bring them into your situation. Now I'm in the Shire. I know the Shire, man. Woo! So now we are ready. But what is the Shire without Hobbit? What's the Shire without Gandalf? Third element. Let's move the action a bit higher here. We need characters. Some of you just said you're sitting there alone in your moment. Okay, but there's also people who influence maybe that moment that you can use. Stories need characters. Hansel, Gretel, and the witch, and we need Frodo and Gandalf and all those characters. Now, do you know how people speak in business presentations? This is how far storytelling goes. My colleague said to me, I have a provider, my neighbors, my wife, they're all dead souls. They're walking dead. This is all generic. They have no life. Now, I have myself a storytelling coach. I did 3 sessions with him. I recommend him always, Mark Brown. Meet Mark Brown from Jamaica. At the age of 18, Mark Brown from Jamaica left Jamaica with $40 in his left hand, with a suitcase in his right hand, and a big dream in his heart. And he moved to Atlanta and he became an American citizen. Mark Brown has always a bow tie. Mark Brown has big white teeth, always a big smile. Mark Brown has this voice like Luciano Pavarotti. Mark Brown went for more than 3 decades all over the United States. He went to high schools and he inspired African American children to stay at school. This guy has empathy tattooed in his heart. Mark Brown. In 1995, Mark Brown won the World Championship of Public Speaking at my beloved Toastmasters.org. Join Toastmasters. That's a public speaking club, and he's one of the best speakers, one of the best storytellers I personally know. He's a good friend. Mark Brown, in a coaching session 3 years ago. Florian, I read your script. Any character you introduce into your story, any character you introduce into your story, bring them to life. Any character, my friend, you introduce into your story, bring them to life. And ever since, for 3 years, I've been speaking for 16 years as a hobby, 13 years as a professional, but for 3 years, I focus much more on my characters. Do you know NLP? Neuro-linguistic programming? Are you a fan of it? I'm not a practitioner, but I'm aware of the fact that many, especially at Present to Succeed, are aware of NLP. I rebranded it because you know the abbreviation, so I rebranded it. You will not forget it. Think about Mark. I just told you about Mark Brown. Mark has a name. It's not a wife or a colleague or a friend. These people have names. And when you give them names, it becomes more personal, more connection. Magic. So simple. Mark Brown, how does he look like? How does he look like? The bow tie, the big white teeth, the smile. I have a look. Describe the look. Don't write a novel. Say, this guy, my friend John, he looks like a marathon runner. That's enough. Marathon runner, it's enough. But give me some idea. The color of the hair, steel green eyes, if they're green, mine are blue. Look, describe the look. And the most important thing for me, what do you think Mark Brown, my friend, what do you think, what kind of character does he have? What kind of personality? P stands for personality. What kind of personality does he have? What do you think? Empathy tattooed in his heart. This guy is passionate about what he does, and you know it. He's a good soul. He has a big heart, and you know it without me telling you even. So this is what I do always now. I bring people to life. I want you to bring your people to life. Name, look, personality. Boris, in the chat now, bring them to life. Short, what's the name of one character in your Anna moment? One character. If you are sitting there alone on the couch, maybe somebody influenced that moment. One character. Name, look, personality. Go. In the chat.
Okay, so now we'll see what happens. By the way, this time I'm monitoring the right chat window. All right, everyone? Stay with me here. So I think that there is like more than 15-second delay. So let's chat a little bit first.
Okay,
because
chat with me.
Based on my assumptions, I think that there is a little bit. By the way, there are... okay, so Norma again is back. My dear boyfriend Max with punk-like appearance and dog-like heart.
Oh,
All
the
right.
big-hearted punk.
Then we,
Super cool.
yeah, then we have Plamen who says, I was standing there looking at that cold, confident guy, Nicholas, who sang his song like Robbie Williams at Royal Albert Hall.
So you see, just wait. What's his name?
Plamen.
Blumen. So look at how much time did he invest now? How much time? You just read it out loud. I think it was like 4 seconds.
Yep.
You see, Blumen, 4 seconds. When you erase in your speaking, in your presentation, one meta talk, I call it meta talk. I will give you an example. I will tell you a story. I want to conclude again. That is meta talk for me. Kill it. You can bring anyone to life like Blumen. Amazing description.
Victoria, wow. Sorry, everyone. Victoria is also back with some comments, and she says, a stranger of whom I'll always think as an angel in disguise. Middle-aged man, deep eyes, serious eyes, distant but calming. Oh, wow. That was deep.
Okay. Challenge for you. What's her name again?
Victoria or Vicky? Probably we can call her Vicky.
Vicky, try to, I know Yoda, do or do not, that is not right. But prove him wrong. Try to shorten it a little bit. You know, also conjunction sometimes you can take out. Make it shorter, make it crisper. A little bit shorter. Like the big-hearted punk, Nicholas, that's a great description because 3 elements and you know everything.
Can I go with one more? Because I find it really...
Okay, one more.
One more and let's move on. Nikolai is saying, my Elena, probably that's the name of someone close to him, wrapped in quote like a burrito, the look in her innocent blue eyes. All right.
Hey guys, by the way, Boris, this time I need the chat, I need all the chat because I want to work on it and throw it back at social media.
But you will have it. You will have it, no worries. You will have it.
Why do I say this time? The last time I got it too. I was wrong. Sorry, Boris.
Let's move on.
So what I want to say to the people here, I will work on it and then throw it back with some highlights and then give you example from your content, how to make it all happen. Let's move on. You have now the situation, the shire, not only visual, there's also the smell of the seagrass or the sound of the waves. You work also with 4 senses. So that means with all 5 senses, which is great. You also have characters. In general, bring your characters to life. Like Mark Brown says, I always do it now with name, look, personality. 4th element, to really meet your audience in your story, to make that magic of connection, the magic of connection really happen. How do these characters talk to each other in books and in movies and in TV shows like Breaking Bad? How do people talk to each other? Think about it. Think about one of your favorite movies. Pretty Woman. No. Well, maybe it is. Think about a favorite, any. How do people talk to each other? There's 2 ways you can talk about these conversations of characters in your story. One is the indirect speech, and the other one is much better. The indirect speech is a sleeping pill for the audience. The other one is much better. Lord of the Rings. You remember Gandalf? When the monster comes and he's standing on the bridge and he says, "You shall not." That's one version. Or you say, and then Gandalf told the monster not to pass. Hey, what version is better for the audience? What is more visual? Where are you engaged? It is always, "You shall not pass." It's always the dialogue, but people never speak with dialogue. People use, and then Gandalf said to the monster, "Shall not pass." Why do you always have to speak in indirect speech, which is a sleeping pill? Direct speech, dialogue between people. Do you have a euro for me? Like before in my story? Mark Brown? There's one thing, Florian. Dialogue is chili. And if you don't like chili, get out of this track. I only eat chili. Everything is chili. It's chili for your story plate. Add chili to your story plate with dialogue. And this means you use dialogue between people. Tip for dialogue: when you talk to people, the more you go into the other character, the better for the audience. The more sex appeal, the more charisma, the more engaging it is. Talk to people. Let people talk to each other. Use dialogue. So in the chat, I want you to write out an exact line, one line. Go back, we call it the reliving room. Reliving room. Go to your reliving room. Remember, relive one line of a dialogue in that Anna moment when you had a new view in life. One line in a dialogue. Boris, let's see what the chat says.
While we're waiting for people to enter their answers, I need to say that you have to be a little bit more careful with that stick that you brought in, because when you pushed it into the ground, your mic didn't react that friendly. Let's just leave it there. You are all fine. Everyone is hearing you, but just saying.
But do you remember the movie, man? It is not friendly.
Okay, then it's just part of the whole thing. Okay, brilliant. All right, people even reacted like, "Whoa, that was like in the movie," more or less. So going to the chat now. One line. Norma is extremely active. Probably she heard the beginning when we mentioned that we are going to be giving away.
Can I say something, Boris?
Yeah.
Can I say something, Boris? Because Norma is one of my favorite operas. Norma, you have a fantastic name.
Oh, all right. So back to what she was saying. Norma was saying her line is, "They don't deserve you." Sveti.
And now, just a second. And Norma, now go and speak it out loud. And if there's neighbors, if there's partner, if there's anyone in the room, don't care. Don't care about what others think of you. Just do it. Say the line in exact the tone that the other person used or you used. That's important.
All right. So then we have Laura Maria, who says, "I don't know, but he says it rather good." Okay. I don't know, but he says it rather good. That's her line. There is one from Sveti who says, "Why don't you become a trainer?" Question mark.
And now Sweaty, now Sweaty, how did he say it? Or she? Why don't you become a trainer? 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 So go into the exact version. That's the best.
Yeah, there is, by the way, when you're saying this one, I think one of those comments fits very well. It's a phrase that I think everyone has heard at least once, that you can apply this exercise very quickly again, and the phrase is, "The time is now."
Oh, that brings me to the fifth element.
Then let's go.
The time is now? Wow, who said it?
Karina.
Karina with the K or with the C?
With the K.
Karina, thank you. Mwah. Thank you for that. The time is now, because the fifth element is now. Wow. Hey, Boris, that was not rehearsed. Tell everyone that was not, Karina, that was not rehearsed. That was amazing. Thank
Correct.
You.
Not
it
at
couldn't
all.
have been better. The fifth element. Think about Tolkien, the writer of The Lord of the Rings, the originator. Many writers in general, they use it. Novelists, they use it all the time. A writer doesn't always write in the past tense. Not all the time. And a writer wouldn't say, "I was standing in front of a yellow ticket machine." When the action comes, writers switch to the historical present tense, historical present. Now that is when you go to the present. And what's the benefit of speaking in now, which is happening right now? You're now with me in Berlin, in a subway station, in front of a ticket machine. This is 13 years ago. But you're still, in your mind, you're now with me there. And I learned that the historical present, speaking in now, is much more powerful for storytelling because you are with me in the moment. If I speak in the past, in my training sessions, on stages, I see it all the time. Presenters almost exclusively speak in past tense. We did this project, something went wrong, and the client, we couldn't persuade him. And then the client calls and says, client, Mr. Miller, he's this choleric guy sometimes, always wears a green suit. Mr. Miller says, what did you do? You know, says, not he said. Before in my story, 1:27, were you there with me? That's a rhetorical question because I know the answer. But that is because I spoke in now. It's now happening. There's one great way in that sense to start any story in your life, which is you can start with 13 years ago, or you start with when I was 8 years old, or you start with on the 16th of November, 1975. You know, either three of these means to the audience once upon a time. That the people know a story is about to start, so they listen. Yes, but there's a second version, and I kind of like this better. I do both, but this one goes more into the now. It's the in media res. In media res, Latin, in the middle of the thing. So you just start. The room is dark. Pause. Man, are they hooked now. So I love both, but the now in general, I use now as a professional speaker when I do keynote speeches, I use a lot the historical present tense. We are now at 10:37, Boris. I have one joker. I had this planned, and then we can go into the Q&A. Okay, Boris, I do one joker. But so far, we already have the 5 elements, which by themselves make the magic happen. You describe the situation, where are you? Don't only do it visually, do it with the 5 senses. The hearing, the touch, the smell, the sight, and the taste. Bring characters to life. Bring them to life, like Mark Brown says, with name, look, personality. Few words, we had beautiful examples. I love Nicholas, the big-hearted punk. And you see, I still remember him. And you said this like 7 minutes ago, I still remember Nicholas. Let them speak to each other like, Gandalf, you shall not pass. Not, he said to the monster that the monster cannot pass. This is so boring. Use dialogue between people and go into that original voice. That is super cool. And last, the 5th element, speak in now. The historical present tense makes it for you much more vivencial, so we can really meet in this moment. One joker. I have a joker for you. And that joker do you like Hannibal Lecter? Boris, do you like Hannibal Lecter?
Yes.
You don't have to answer. I know you like it. What does Hannibal Lecter do well? I mean, what does he do well? What does Hannibal do well apart from eating liver with fava beans and nice candy? Hannibal goes into your brain and he manipulates your thoughts. And as a speaker, as a storyteller, I want to go into your brain. And there are 3 ways, 3 verbs. You can easily do it. Easily. Use it throughout your presentations. Use it in your stories. Use it all over the place. I use it as a trainer all over the time, all over the place. There are 3 verbs. And if you see it here, it says TRI. Try it out. Try it out. The T stands for think. Think about your first kiss. Salt and Pepper. Do you remember Boris? Salt and Pepper. Youth discotheque, Catholic youth club, Salt and Pepper, disgusting smoke. On my way to the bathroom, Tanya, short hair, brown. Moisty, wet, disgusting. My first kiss. You cannot not think. Think about a day in the forest. You are in the audience's brain. Remember a sunny day on the beach. Remember your childhood. Maybe it wasn't that good. That's even better as a speaker, by the way. And John Lennon. Imagine you're standing next to me in front of a yellow ticket machine in Berlin, Rosenthaler. Imagine you are a hobbit. Imagine you're Gandalf. What do you tell that monster? Try it out, think, remember, imagine. That is what I use all the time to be in your brains like Hannibal Lecter without eating your liver. We have 10:41. My friend Boris, let's do Q&A. You know how it goes. Make the magic happen. Let them meet with these 5 elements, with the Joker. You will rock your stories much more with that magic of connection.
So we have 4 minutes for questions. By the way, you definitely, after your session is over, you definitely need to jump in the chat and just
I will.
talk with everyone because there are so many comments. Yeah, you just have to see it. However, there is one question. I see the questions from Bogomila, from Christian. There is one from Brat, who is from Pickett. However, there is one that I really want you to answer for us because that's one that we also get a lot of times throughout sessions and we do throughout the work with our own customers. So Viara is asking you something. Do you think this approach about presentations can be applied in more technical topics or such where we don't necessarily have a character or a story? And because I know you were recently with Microsoft, let's now discuss this in the last few minutes.
Okay, then we do that question only because it's a very good one.
Yes, that's why I chose it.
I only say that you mentioned Microsoft. I love my Microsoft, but ever since for 1 year I worked for them, and I only say I work for them. It cannot be cooler than Jägermeister, sorry. And I mentioned Viara. I mentioned in a training session with 4 country CFOs, only data, only numbers, super technical, KPIs up and down, 4 CFOs. I mentioned just the symbolic expression of data story. Data story, there's a book by Nancy Duarte. You can buy that one too on the web. Data story. But data story, I use it as a symbol. And what it means is, are you guys aware of logos, ethos, pathos? Aristotle. I'm sure my buddy, John Zimmer, my super buddy, in the next session, I'm sure he will mention Mr. Aristotle. John, if you hear me, mention Aristotle. So logos, ethos, pathos. The logical arguments, facts, data, figures. Ethos, the credibility you convey based on your reputation, your authority. I always look at you. And pathos, of course, the emotional appeal, story, metaphors, vision, dreams, 5 senses. 5 senses is emotional. All these you need to persuade people and move them to action. That's rhetoric. Now, data story as a symbol for me is you combine logos, logic, with pathos, and you merge it. When I mentioned data story, Viara, to those 4 country CFOs of Jägermeister, do you know what Eve Michaels from New York said? Hey Flo, data story, I need that. Can we tomorrow change the curriculum? Can we change the agenda and you add half an hour? And I'm like, no, it's all like boom, boom, boom. But we can do a workshop. And 3 months later, we did a workshop, a 4-hour workshop on data story. Examples of data stories. Your KPIs, your facts, your metrics. Metrics, if it's very technical, your metrics. A metric can be a metaphor. One metric can be Leonidas, and the other metric can be Mickey Mouse. Who will win this game? You see, you still talk about metrics, but with the metaphor, you add emotion to it. Your whole planning financial planning, when you're a finance guy, you could use as a hero's journey. I'm sure, Boris, for 2 days we will hear again hero's journey. I will not mention that here. Frodo goes, in the end, he's the hero. You can do that. It's the planning, there's a challenge, and then you have to struggle to get all the data and the numbers, and then you make it and you learn something, and financial plan is cool. You can add so much pathos to your logos. So be creative. Technical data alone is logos. It's boring. So add emotion. How? Maybe, Boris, next year, isn't there a live session?
Let's not talk about that right now.
Okay, I will not mention the live session. But if you stalk me down again in the fish restaurant and you will not order fish, maybe data story is a wonderful workshop topic next.
All right, let's not talk about the future that much. Who knows? Maybe people will be able to see you here in Sofia in some point. No one knows. Anyway, Florian, we're out of time. There are incredible questions in the chat and incredible questions also in the Q&A area. I'll ask our team to make sure that you have them because I really want you to answer all of them. They are truly, truly incredible. There is question. Yeah, go ahead.
Can they send the link? Can you send the link?
We will make sure that you have them in one way or the other, so that you can see who also asked them. So there are questions around how do you prepare for this keynote? What is the sense that if you attack it, will yield the biggest results? They are really cool, really cool questions. Thank you for joining us again, and thanks for opening the event.